Today we're going to take a look at the new 10.2-inch 7th generation iPad 2019 version. And this is the Wi-Fi version, which is actually on sale for only $249 right now. So as you may know, the cheapest version used to be 9.7-inch. Now they upped the display to 10.2, and it still has the Touch ID. You get the A10 Fusion chip, same as the previous version. And this is compatible with the first generation Apple Pencil. It's also compatible with Smart Keyboard and Bluetooth keyboards. Unfortunately, they're still using the Lightning connector instead of USB-C. And this 128GB version is normally $429, but I actually got it for $100 less during Black Friday sales. And the resolution of the display is 2160 by 1620. At 264 ppi. Now, a few things you don't get with this versus say the iPad Air is a fully laminated display, anti-reflective coating, wide color display, and true tone display. And just like pretty much all iPads, you're gonna get up to 10 hours of surfing the web on Wi-Fi, watching videos, listening to music, etc. And this is still on an older Bluetooth 4.2 technology. I don't know if it's that important, but it may be to some people. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what we've got. Now this is the silver version, but there's also a space gray and gold version as well. Here's the Lightning charging cable, which is pretty much the same as my iPad Air 2 that I'm actually upgrading from. You've got a couple Apple stickers, warranty and safety information, and of course a quick start guide. And you get your USB charging brick. Now here's a quick size comparison of the older 9.7-inch iPad Air 2 compared to the larger 10.2-inch version. It seems to be just a little bit taller and just a little bit wider. And then the thickness is pretty much the same. The newer iPad is just a hair thicker, but you can just barely tell. So it hasn't really changed much throughout the years. Here on the top, you've got your sleep and wake button. You can also press and hold to power off or power on. And then you've got your microphone here in the center and 3.5mm headphone jack. Down here at the bottom is your Touch ID button or home button. On the upper right hand side are your volume buttons. Rear facing camera is in the same location up in the corner. You've got your three little metal contacts here on the side for a smart keyboard. And then you've got your speakers along the bottom, along with the Lightning connector charging port. This does have an 8 megapixel camera with an f2.4 aperture. This can do 1080p HD video at 30 frames per second, slow-mo video support for 720p at 120 frames per second. You can also do time-lapse video with stabilization, 3x video zoom, and this also has the FaceTime HD camera on the front, which is unfortunately only 1.2 megapixels, but still the cameras on an iPad are usually pretty good. And it also has a flash on the front-facing camera. You can do 720p HD video recording, HDR for photos and videos, and of course FaceTime video calling over Wi-Fi or cellular. Now the nice thing is they've got a promotion going when you buy any new Apple product where you can get a free year of Apple TV Plus, which is their new streaming service to compete against Netflix, Disney Plus, or other similar types of streaming services. And it looks like if you already have an iPhone or iPad, you can bring it nearby to sign in automatically. Now, in case you're not familiar with iPads, to quickly access the dock, you just swipe up from the bottom. To switch between recent apps, you swipe up further from the bottom edge, then release to show your recent apps. Then to quickly access controls, you just slide down from the right-hand corner, and then press and hold on a control to reveal more options. So far, it's only used 11.2 gigabytes of 128, so I would say that's actually pretty good straight out of the box. Once you go into settings, it's going to look very similar to previous versions of iPads. And it looks like there is an update, so I'm going to go ahead and install that. Then you can customize the display and brightness. You can also go to dark mode. There's also a night shift. You can change the time of auto lock. You can change the size of text, and you can make the icons larger if you want. Under Touch ID and passcode, you've got a few different options you can use the Touch ID for, such as to unlock the iPad, iTunes in the App Store, Apple Pay, and password autofill. And then there's just a lot of other settings for each app that I'm not going to cover today because it would make this video way too long. I think the iPad is really good for browsing online, reading books, and even has a nice side-by-side view for multitasking. But there is one thing that sort of bothers me with this iPad, and that is the aspect ratio. When watching movies or YouTube, I think the black bars on the top and bottom make the screen a lot smaller than it needs to be. I think if it was the shape of something like the Galaxy Tab A 10.1, it would be so much better for streaming Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever it is you're watching. And here's just a quick sound test on the speakers. They're not super loud, but definitely louder than the Galaxy Tab A 10.1. To give you an idea, my internet speed is usually right around 100 megabits per second, and I was around 10 to 15 feet from my router when using Wi-Fi. Now, playing on a Chromebook is what I really wanted to see, and to tell you the truth, I was amazed these games actually play on here. So as far as the camera and video goes, the iPad is definitely one of the best cameras that you're gonna find on a tablet, especially at this price point. And here I'll just show you a few samples of photos just to give you an idea of what they look like. If you happen to use a Windows computer, one problem I did notice is you can't just copy over photos or videos like you can with Android tablets or phones. For some reason, Apple thinks .heic files are what everyone should be using. So unfortunately, you do have to download an extension in order to make Windows recognize the files, or try to research how to just copy and paste, which I don't think you should have to do. Now, the really nice thing about this so-called budget iPad is that when playing games such as PUBG, it actually recommends the highest settings for the graphics. And when I played Call of Duty Mobile, it actually works really good. And I can't believe I can actually use my Xbox One controller now. They must have done an update recently because I'm pretty sure you could not use a controller just not too long ago. And of course, the iPad is known for drawing or taking notes using the Apple Pencil, or there's a lot of cheaper alternatives out there. So definitely make sure to watch my upcoming accessory video for more. Overall, I'm really impressed with the quality of this entry-level iPad. If you're thinking about upgrading from an old iPad, like me with my iPad Air 2, or thinking about getting your first iPad, stop thinking about it and just buy one. Especially with Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Christmas sales coming up, I think it's definitely worth it. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.